crossing on a weary line. Too scared to trust you and jump down. I'll keep my status quo up here, won't let anybody come near. I'll fix it on my own. 29 years I've been the same, trying so hard to run from shame. But how long can I keep up the pace? To fool myself I don't need grace. Will you be there to catch my fall? Need to be sure you'll hear my...
Okay, first guys, check out the sun flare behind me. That's pretty neat. So I'm back at Secor Park doing some more woodland photography. This time the conditions are different. It's been a week and it's changed a lot, and I'll show you that in a second, but I'm going to be doing harsh light, kind of golden hour light photos with the sunlight filtering through the trees. Don't know how much time I have left, but it's not too bad out. It was actually going to be pretty hot, but I came here and it's actually pretty cool here. So here's an example of how much it's changed. If you watched my last video, I photographed this scene. It was really yellow and green, and it almost looked like it wasn't even close to peak color. But I've came back here, and half of the leaves on those like vines and trees back there are already dead. So that just shows how much a landscape can change, especially during the fall. Alright guys, so I found my first shot, and I've got to take this fairly quickly because one of the things making it work is this golden light in the very background, which just helps to make the photo a bit more colorful. So I'm going to take this right now, and then I'll walk you through the composition. Okay, now I'll walk you through the composition. I don't know why I can't do this right. I've been filming this several times, but it's kind of a taming the chaos type composition, and I've got these young sassafras trees in the foreground of the photo, and they're nice and yellow and green, and in the very back I have this kind of golden greenish harsh lighting from the sun that's helping to add color to the photo. So I haven't got any filters. It's a shallow depth of field to get rid of the chaos of the scene and focus in on just the tree that I want, and I think it's actually going to turn out quite nicely. Most of these photos are just experimenting and seeing what I can make and practicing, because I've got a huge 5-day Zion trip coming up that I want to practice for. So it's good to come out at least once every week and practice photography, because if you don't, it's probably going to be really hard to get back into it, say like a month after you've last done it or so. But these videos that I'm doing are getting me a way to force myself to go out and at least once a week and do photography. And yeah, this is a really nice park, so I might come back to this next time as well. Okay, just real quickly guys, I found something pretty cool. So I'm in this Natural Scouts group, and we learned quite a bit about plants of Ohio, and this is actually a extremely rare plant. It's extremely poisonous as well. Most white colored berries or plants are poisonous, but I just thought I'd share this with you because this is actually quite a rare plant. And yeah, the only reason I know that is because I'm in this Natural Scouts group, but it's pretty cool.
So hard to run from shame, and I will not keep up the pace. To fool myself I don't need grace. Will you be...
So I kind of walked off trail here and maneuvered my way through some plants and poison ivy. At this point I'm starting to think that I'm immune to it because I've gone through so much vegetation with shorts on so far in the last 2 years of my life, and I haven't gotten poison ivy yet. But it was all because I saw this glimpse of color right here, and I'm not sure if it's worth it. I'll have to see how my composition turns out. But I found these yellow leaves, and they're the only yellow leaves in sight, so I think that I might have a good photo on my hands. Alright, so several mosquito bites later, and in about 10 minutes of getting my shot composed and deciding what I want the depth of field to be, and all of that, I have found my composition. It's a very small, intimate composition, shallow depth of field, and I'm also going to try one with a longer depth of field and compare them and see how they look, because I don't want to just do a bunch of depth of field and get stuck in that for my forest photography, because I feel like that's one way to dig yourself into a rut of just doing shallow depth of field, which I almost never do, but for some reason these forest scenes are really inspiring me to open up my aperture and experiment with it. So I've got this nice simple composition, no filters, and yeah, this might be my last shot of the day. Probably walk around a bit more. But yeah, thanks for watching.
And I'll say I didn't know better, but the truth is I was weak and scared, afraid of the blame. 29 years I've been the same, trying so hard to run from shame, and I will not keep up the pace. To fool myself I don't need grace. Will you be there to catch my fall? Need to be sure.
So I hope you enjoyed this video where I kind of experimented with shallow depth of field in woodland. I would seriously recommend that if you want practice with improving your compositions, that you come out to a woodland like this, because it really makes you make sense of all the chaos of a scene and really try hard to isolate a subject in composition. But I want to hear your guys' thoughts basically on what you think about shallow depth of field and landscape photography. Do you think it's a good thing? Do you think it's a bad thing? Are you in between? Do you think that, you know, it's kind of like if you have a big landscape, obviously you should get it all in focus, but if you're doing woodland stuff or kind of intimate compositions where you can't get everything in focus, that it adds a better artistic style. So if you want to, leave your thoughts about that in the comments. And yeah, please subscribe.